whatever the like like whatever transactions day to day, whatever the works done, it will be accessible and they can do their part in the same uh, this thing.
Okay, that's
As
great.
far as
That's great for whatever you have told right now for ERP.
thank you, thank you.
So right now, today's class is all about the SAP MM. SAP MM is not just a module. It's how you relate, how you correlate between five, six other modules in the SAP system. But before we jump right into the SAP MM, we should know what is a ERP. ERP means Enterprise Resource Planning, like you said. But the earlier name of ERP was ECC, Enterprise Central Component. Okay, anything that happens in an enterprise that is centrally managed by a software, it's called ECC. But when you include the cloud, it becomes ERP. So when you talk about ERP is all about handling the process, keeping a central repository, keeping a smaller footprint, making sure that the data set is reduced, analytical reporting is carried out, and the process owners or the business owners, maybe it's the chairman, maybe it's the MD, maybe it's the CEO, CFO, CTO, CXO, and CIO. All these guys would have a proper picture so they can take the business decisions. So in that case, that is your ERP in net to net. When I say net to net means end to end process. So this is a ERP meaning. So what I was telling was ERP. ERP is enterprise, um, and in enterprise you have enterprise resource planning. Enterprise resource planning means you have a business intelligence. But how this intelligence will work? This intelligence will work based on the data that you're given from what? From supply chain. You might have heard this quote on and on from somewhere or on the news that supply chain is the backbone of any economy. Why supply chain is the big backbone of an economy? Shut down, like you might had faced the COVID by now. So during the COVID, there was a complete shutdown. So the Indian economy got reduced by 30%, US by 55, China by another 40, because their entire industry in the China region, they have the entire industry based on the supply chain, the manufacturing. Vietnam industry. Vietnam is the biggest manufacturing hub, or you can say assembly hub for the phones, the transmitters. You can get a company name like Huawei or maybe Samsung, maybe Foxconn, maybe Biotech. The medical industry also are all in the Vietnam and the Chinese belt. So when you talk about the manufacturing industry, how manufacturing industry works, and what's the input you're getting, there might be a shop floor. In the shop floor, you might have machines. There are big machines, there are small machines. It can be anything. Take example of a Coca-Cola, which project is with Infosys right now, right? And if you talk about Pepsi, it's with Accenture. Let me enter Rajat again. Okay, so when you talk about the shop floor, or when you talk about the, one second, admit all. Okay, six guys have joined by now. Great. So when you talk about the entire manufacturing process, the manufacturing process might include a production line. A production line might have some materials. That materials are brought into the system by supply chain management, which is the materials management, and the logistics part. Then you have the manufacturing process going on. It might be PP module, it might be the APO, and then whatever work people are doing, right, these guys are needed to be get paid, maybe blue collar, maybe someone who's in the IT. So when you complete this course, in the end you will get a white collar job, which is a IT profession. So HR, there would be HR, right? That HR, what they will do is they'll manage your leaves, they'll manage your travel plan, they'll manage how much work you're doing, and they'll also manage in that particular sphere that how much salary you're withdrawing, what's the net output, and how much work you're giving back to the company, right? There would be a project management tool also. The project management tool is nothing but how the project is needed to be going on. So for example, if I talk about finance, there would be a capex plan, or there might be a project management plan for which the how much output is needed, how much input of the materials, raw materials or semi-finished products are given, and then a customer relationship model is there. Customer relationship is CRM. CRM, in the other word, stands for you have to sell the product, right? For that, you will bring the client to a portal. For example, all of you might have heard about a company called Blue Star ACs, right? I worked in the HVAC industry. I worked in the power generation industry. I worked for the automotive industry. And when you talk about all these industries, the common factor is CRM. So ERP and CRM, it's very different, but it works like parallel. So CRM is like a Salesforce is the largest CRM. So CRM, when you talk about CRM itself, it might have different technologies, different functioning. So CRM happens when you do sales, right? So the sales SD module in SAP, there are different modules. Right now, we are doing materials management, which is related to supply chain. Then in the sales, you have a CRM. So whatever sales order is getting out, it is getting out because somebody on the CRM mentioned that we want a sales. SAP SD prepared a quote. It went to the CRM, went to the client, went to the customer. Sales receipt was generated, and then order to cash cycle continued, which is called SAP O2C in S4HANA. Right now comes the service maintenance. The service maintenance is a bigger picture. Take it as a plant maintenance. Okay, so plant maintenance, when you talk about plant maintenance, there are different things in the plant maintenance. Like there is a repeated maintenance, there is a manufacturing, once a machine or a mill, let's say, you might have heard about a mill, you might have heard about the transformers, you might have heard about the other um, like boilers. There are different refineries. If you talk about petrochemical industry, if you talk about something like a mine, right? In a mine, there would be different machines that would be operating. There is a big dozer or a drill that rotates and digs a deep hole. So there are mining projects from the US, from the Australia, that are also currently in the SAP. So you can get any of the projects, but you should know what are the modules and how everything is integrated into ERP. So when you talk about service maintenance, whatever is running, if a machine is running, by first law of Newton, there would be some heat, wear and tear, and and the forces are acted equal and opposite on both bodies, right? So if the forces are acted, there would be heat produced. If there is heat produced, then the machinery would have something that is like a wear and tear, and damage would be caused. There would be scratches, dents. There would be something like the machine is about to be broken, and we cannot endanger the life of humans, and because we want to save money, right? So in that case, you have a service maintenance module, which is called the plant maintenance module, SAP PM. Then comes the sales and marketing. So there are different marketing tools, and like I said, in the SAP sales, it is also integrated. So what you're marketing, what will come into ERP, everything is there. So when you talk about purchase management is a different thing, and supply chain is a different thing. Supply chain also includes the RFX, the transport management, but purchase management only includes the SAP materials management. And SAP materials management, you will have a BOQ, uh, bill of quantity. You will also have the quotations. You will also have the PRs, purchase requisitions. You will also have the contracts, the POs, the PRs, and then you will have the goods receipt, then the invoice. So whatever is a P2P cycle, I'll explain the P2P cycle in the next 15-20 minutes. So whatever is coming up as a purchase management or a P2P cycle, it's coming under the purchase cycle. Okay. Then you have the asset management. So what is an asset? So like we were discussing about what is a ERP. Similarly, let's say you have a company and you are going to implement ERP, but earlier you were doing it in Excel. So even to use Excel, you will have to buy a laptop or maybe a desktop. All these comes under assets. These are fixed asset. Then there is another kind of asset, which is called the building itself. Let's say you're working in a, like I'm sitting in a home, okay, and there's a plant. Okay, similarly, there is a real estate. I would give you example in which I have also held one of the projects of freelancing. Panchil Realty. Panchil Realty is one of the projects in which is a Maharashtra based real estate industry. So if I talk about real estate, there is M3M Group. in the north, there is Panchsheel in the south. So I would say Maharashtra, and in south there is another, I think maybe Gorse or maybe something like Eldico is there in the central India, MP and all these regions. There is Eldico. So all these are real estate companies, right? So in real estate, what happens? So you will have some building material, or you will have some cement, you will have something like the entire base is created. You have to dig a deep hole for the we call it as neve in Hindi, but you will have to prepare the base of the building, right? So anything that is created from ground to ground up or scratch up, it is called as asset. So you will have a building as an asset. So whatever is leased, whatever is getting the money again, it is called an asset. The assets might also be the capital goods. What is a capital good? Let's say you already are having a home, or already having a building, or already having anything. So your building, so your workspace would have a almirah or a table in which you're working. So if you don't have a table, how will you work? So these assets cannot be sold. These assets cannot be transferred. They can only be they can only have a depreciation. Depreciation means depreciation. So anything that is an asset, like if I tell you I have an iPhone, uh, it the value of iPhone depreciates 5% per year. Similarly for your desktops. But in the case of machines, let's say I'm using a JCB for my punctual reality project. So in that case, the JCB's depreciation would run for like 7 to 8% or 7.5% per year. So there is a asset management in which I manage what assets I have, what are my lease properties, what are my lease capital goods, and whatever I'm building around it. That is called my asset management. So asset is like capital goods, fixed assets. Okay. Then comes the business intelligence, where we went from the starting. All these models combined, when you put it together, you need to have a quantitative decision. By quantitative decision, I mean that the owner of the business, or the product owners, maybe someone who's on the top of the hierarchy of the organization, should have the proper ways to grow a company. So when you have to grow a company, let me give you another example of Indian Oil, or maybe HP. So when you talk about HP or Indian Oil and BPCL, I'll compare all three. So Indian Oil is, if it is here, HP is here, and then BPCL. BPCL is one of the largest vendors that have implemented the SAP ERP, and also one of the largest guys to get through the crucial time where EV changes are happening. So when I talk about EV, there is another company that is in Delhi Rohini Sector 10. Uh, that company manufactures the solar panel. Okay. So I was reading about stock market the other day, like last week and all. So what strategy they did was 110 cr order was given to that company. They are helping BPCL to convert their existing petrol pumps into EV charging stations as well, via a pillar. Okay, whatever electricity is coming through the pillar, they'll put one small device or two devices in that same pillar, in that same premise. So you don't need extra space, you don't need extra efforts. You just order, and then that setup will come. You can charge your EV in next 40 minutes. So that is the power of business intelligence. So to make administrative decisions, to make sure that your entire ERP process is optimized, and the business relevance. By business relevance, I mean to increase the business footprint, and also get in the extra money. Money comes when you make calculative analysis by the data management, by the business intelligence, and also by overviewing the all the process. So in this perspective, let's get it through the purchase management. By here, you don't have any doubts, right? Anyone, any doubts, you can ask me straight away. Don't wait for your doubts. Okay, you can unmute, guys. I'll give you 1 minute. Ask your doubts, otherwise I'll continue. Okay, you have somebody has written in the chat. Okay, okay, Arjunji. Participants total now we have 7. I think 2 or 3 other guys have not joined. Great. Let me get through. So by ERP, I've told you about CRM, I've told you about sales, I've told you about financing, production, HR, planning, inventory management, and reporting. So now what does SAP stands for? So SAP is not just a company, okay? It's emotion. So when I talk about emotion, SAP has been a source of bread and earning for me from the last 5 7 years, right? If you talk about SAP entirely, SAP stands for System Applications and Product and Data Processing at real time data. Real time data means when you talk about SAP's definition, okay, SAP's definition changed. One second, two people are waiting. Admit all, Rohit and SRK. Okay, so SAP's definition changed. So it was earlier the old definition was system applications and products. That was SAP till 2000 for 15, I guess. Yeah, 15. Then came the SAP S4 HANA. This course is S4 HANA. HANA means a database. So in database, like I told you in the last slide, what is a database? One second. Yeah. Database, you will have all the data intelligence working around in the real time. So when you talk about real time, SAP works on real time objects and the data gets stored into the database, which is a cloud system. So in SAP, when you talk about the full form, it's system application and product in data processing on real time data. On real time data, why this on real time data is crucial? Because you're working on live system that is a cloud. If you call in the cloud means that you will have the current activities of all these modules or all these competencies or parts of the enterprise, and the centralized inventory would be there, the centralized finance would be there, sales would be there, and there would be a clear picture of every sub model and sub domain of SAP. And when I talk about SAP is one of the leading companies that was born in Waldorf, Germany in 1972. I have not written Waldorf, but Waldorf is the place where SAP headquarters is still there. SAP SE is the parent company of SAP, and all the licenses around the world. So Indian licenses are also from the SAP Germany, which is SAP SE, that was established by 5 ex-employees of IBM guys. I'll give you the names, I'll give you the details, I'll give you everything. What is SAP? How we need to proceed with SAP, the details, and I have something that would go on for you for the entire duration of the course. Whatever I'll be teaching, you can refer the same things in that book that I've curated for you guys. Okay, so SAP is one of the leading softwares. When I say one of the means, it is the one. So when you talk about ERP, I worked on 5 to 7 ERPs. There is Next ERP, which is a local ERP that is coming around in a lot of local businesses. So when I say local, it doesn't mean local. The Next ERP is one of the ERPs that is already one of the global partners. Odoo is the software that came from Japan. You might have heard about ERP if you were looking about SAP. This is all the small ERPs. Then why we are studying SAP is because it is better than other ERP softwares. If you talk about BAN was something that was used in some manufacturing companies. Like if I tell you about my background, my dad is a mechanical engineer. He works for a company that makes spoilers. Okay, his company was there that was using BAN. From BAN, you can shift to another softwares also. From JD Edwards, from other softwares like Oracle NetSuite is there, but it doesn't work exactly as per the needs. SAP comes with a standard configuration which is predefined for any manufacturing industry. So when I talk about manufacturing industry, it can be anything ranging from wood industry. It can be your aerospace. It can like the Airbus project is with again with Infosys. You can have the shipbuilding industries, you can have the automotive like Rolls Royce, you will have the Mercedes Benz project. All these projects are coming in the market. The Volkswagen is also there. You might have heard about the Volkswagen Gujarat. You might have heard about Tata Steel. You might have also heard about the Adani Ports. I was reading the project budget of Adani Ports. Adani Ports gave jobs to 211 people. They had a 1100 crore budget for just SAP implementation and infrastructure costs. Imagine the potential that SAP holds. So when I say there are jobs near your home. You just need to look around. I mean it. So SAP and in the metals management, without the metals management module lies in the core. Okay. If you talk about inventory management, it is a sub part of metals management. It is the purchasing that helps. Without purchasing, you will not have the raw materials. Without the raw materials or semi-finished materials, you'll not have the finished goods. If you're not going to sell, you cannot run industry. All these processes will shut down automatically. So MM is one of the core modules, and finance is one of the core modules, and sales. Without sales, nothing works. Other modules are, even if you don't do it, it doesn't matter. But you need to know SAP materials management in depth. Okay, great. So continuing with this, ERP is known for its integrated and consistent approach with all the other modules that is there with the business of the finance, HR, supply chain, manufacturing. So how SAP evolved? So there are different timelines. SAP was founded in Germany, Waldorf, again, the place. Then R1 launched, then R2 launched, R3, then SAP AG. This is the AG means Germany. It transferred to SAP SE, which is the international recognition of SAP that is also in Waldorf, Germany right now. Then the NetWearer, all these would be critical terms for you. But when I talk about SAP, I'll give you very, very minor details. So let's start from the very beginning. I'm not a history teacher. I'll not be boring with you all these history lessons, but I need to tell you what is this architecture R1, R2, R3, and what does S4 means. Great. So when I talk about R1, this is an interview question. Again, I already mentioned to most of you guys, maybe someone else also mentioned during your counseling sessions, that will tell you what is a history question. So history question starts from this. It started here. What is a ERP? That's it. You need to know what is a ERP. You need to know what is a ECC and the difference. I have not come to that point. I'll tell you that when it comes. So you need to remember this date and 5x IBM employees. That's it. Waldorf, Germany. Interview question first. Second interview question. The date. The date in which the SAP was founded in Germany. 1972. R1. R1 means real time. SAP R1 means real time, one level architecture. It is one level architecture means only you can you can talk with the interface using the GUI, the graphical user interface. This might be sounding technical to you. I know it is difficult for the first time for everyone to understand. So remember, long back you had this big computers, right? A computer of size of a garage, or maybe your 1 BHK apartment. So when I talk about the launch of ERP, how ERP went from R1 to R3 to R2 and to S4. So R means levels of architecture. I'll show you what it is so you don't get confused. It will be done in the end of the session. Then you have R3. So remember the mainframe computers? The mainframes were less of a size, takes half of the garage, but was still not being used correctly. Then comes the evolution of SAP when the system changed, when the Windows came into the picture. 1972, R3 came, in which the client was able to do all the work, right? So in that case, R3 came. There's a three-level architecture. Then the S4 HANA came into the picture. S4 HANA. What does HANA means? What is HANA? Right? In 2010, HANA came. But what is S4 HANA? What is Fiori? I'll tell you all that. So HANA means HANA is a database, but it was not. It was not integrated with SAP. This is a separate database only used for analytical reporting. That is SAP BIBW. Then in 2013, they made SAP Fiori for a UI change or user interface change to make it more interactive. If I'll show you SAP, you will say, how boring is it? I don't want to work. But when you and when you work on SAP S4 HANA, the client wants to work on it. That is your that is a cyclic change, right? If the client wants to work, you will also work on the same system. S4 means SAP suite for HANA database. What does it mean? SAP suite. S means suite. 4 means 4-level architecture, or for HANA. SAP suite for HANA, right? So this is the next generation ERP that is coming into the picture, and this is the evolution cycle. I think this graphical representation would be much better for you guys, because when you talk about 1972, imagine a software getting created 47 years ago with very less of the technology, and there was no electricity. Back then, India didn't had electricity at most of the places, only Delhi, Calcutta, and that too after 10 p.m. Forget about it totally. So R1 was introduced, then came R2, then came R3, then SAP ECC. Most of the guys that are teaching you SAP across India are only teaching ECC. ECC is first 30 hours. I'll teach you for first 30 hours for ECC, then the next 30 hours for SAP S4 HANA. HANA itself is a very, very deep technology. When you talk about the technical specifications, I'll give you experience of whatever a 3-year-old experience guy should have. I'll talk about Rise of Ws. I'll talk about different projects. I'll talk about how you solve real life problems with a real mentor, right? So let's get right into this. So all these modules I've already explained. What are the different modules? Materials management for procurement, sales for sales, shipping, billing. You have to pick the material, you have to ship it to the client, and you have to generate a bill. The FICO. When I say about FICO, FICO means finance accounting. The FICO itself would be very typical. I'll give you one integration with SD, one integration with FI, one integration with BAP. EWM is not integrated to us. We have a separate model to look at into it, submodule. Submodule is under the inventory management. When you talk about materials management, inventory manages the part, and warehouse manages the inventory. So I'll tell you what we are going to manage. We're going to manage inventory. Let's say you lost some product. There might be different warehouses. There might be some products, and what if it falls from the rake or falls from the its place and it is lost? So if it is lost, or somebody took it, or it is stolen, there might be cases somebody stole. So there might be a, let's say, let's get you back to this company. You might have heard about Dove shampoos, right? PNG. Great. So in PNG, what happens is you might have Dove shampoos. It is packed, shipped, done whatever they had to do. But what if the entire batch of that product is stolen? How will you do it? Or it is mismanaged, or it is packed with the wrong slip. The only way to identify is a slip number or a serial number or a batch management. What if that entire batch is lost? How will you do it? All that cases or everything around it will tell you in the inventory management, in the physical inventory process. Physical inventory is one of the crucial process in which there is only one interview question, and in an interview, the interviewer will ask you, is procurement your strong point or is inventory management? By chance, if you told procurement, I guarantee you will cry that day. Procurement is very vast. Inventory management in EWM is very less. There is only one question that comes from inventory management, that too, what is the tick and what's the use of the prerequisite tick that is there in the inventory management. Nothing else. Nobody can ask you any other thing in inventory management. But in procurement, the pricing, there is finance involved. Then there is the GLs involved, which I'll be telling you. So I need you to work with me on the entire P2P cycle plus inventory management. There is no exception in this. When I was counseling you guys, I got to heard few words like, sir, can I get a shortcut? Can I get this? There is no shortcut to success. After 30 hours, you can go to interviews, but you will face difficulties. After 80% of the sessions, you will already have cleared the interviews. After 100%, if you revise, if you work with me, I guarantee you, you'll get a job. We'll bring jobs. Even I have tabs for you right now, which I can show by the end of this session, in which we have almost 20-30 vacancy per module, per website. Okay, and that is not just a single website. It's from LinkedIn, it's from everywhere. The different tools that we are using, that I can help you use, and how I did my last 5 switches. Okay, so we have the EWM module. EWM is extended warehouse. Let's say you have a perishable. So by perishable, if I talk about TCS, TCS has one project called Amul. So you might be drinking milk from Ananda if you're from South. You might be drinking milk if you're from North or from Gujarat. You might be having Amul, or maybe Namaste India. All these, they have materials, right? What is a material? A raw product. Raw product would be what? In a milk industry, or a industry that gives you milk, right? You will have a packaging material, that is your plastic packaging. First thing. Second thing, you'll have what? You'll have your milk. Okay, then you'll do some production activity like boiling it. Okay, and then from the pipe it flows to the bags. It can be curd. If it is hot, it will be curd. If it is not hot, if it is pasteurized, then cold, then packed, then it is your current milk, right? Then if it is rotated around, spin around, and then removed, okay, then you will have what? Two categories. Then you'll have buttermilk and you'll have the toned milk. If it is extremely toned, it is premium toned. So you will have only 7 materials at maximum in Amul or Ananda or Namaste India factories. So when I talk about SAP, all these warehouses will be filled with the packets. Okay, there would be packets hanging around from the because if you keep a packet, it will flow, right? And it will not get the proper yeast. If I talk about curd, right? Hung curd. What is a hung curd? You might be enjoying your savories. Somebody of you might be non-veg, somewhat veg. Okay, so when you marinate a paneer tikka, or when you marinate a chicken tikka, you need to mix curd. And in the specific recipe, there's called hung curd. So go to your mom, ask what hung curd is and what a normal curd is. It will be very different. So whatever is packed, it is different. It is used by a manufacturing process. It is done with the purchase process, and then it comes to your home by the sales HD module. Finance is not when you give the cash to the company, or when you purchase, uh, a company purchases the raw material. And then ABAP. ABAP means anything you want to custom, or the client wants to custom. Let's say I want to see a custom report. Okay, custom report, as in I want to see how many assets I have in the and that I purchased, and that can be sold right now, or that can be uh, shifted to another plant. Let's say I have one other agency that is coming up. I need to move 5 fridge. Okay, and that 5 fridge, I need a MM and FI and PM. Plant maintenance also have a
So,
asset yeah. So, it's someone saying anything? Hi Rajat. Rajat, if you're not speaking, can you mute?
yes, sir.
Okay, Jay. Okay, so you have 1 second. Lobby are there, right? Chandra, Kiran, Raj. Okay, so you have different modules, and ABAP is the bread and butter of SAP. So when I talk about ABAP, ABAP is like a technical language in which you need to know the very basics of SQL. If you do not know, we can teach you about SQL, and then you work on ABAP. So as a materials management consultant, my sole responsibility is to get the client requirement, put it in the system, make sure it is consistent with SD, FICO, and any customization that client needs. Anything other than the standard SAP is customized with ABAP. So let's say I need a program or a module that makes the relevance between the purchase asset, the purchased asset with equipment, because asset and equipment are linked. Equipment is a part of SAP plant maintenance. That reporting, if I need to know, how will I do? There's no standard report, and how much money I spent, from which vendor I took it. So that will come in SAP ABAP. Any doubts you have? Let me come back to you guys. I've not asked you anything. Anyone?
Can you please actually mention these shortcut keys, no, like ECC, EW, that we don't know, no? Can you please while
I
selling, while selling?
Okay, I already told. Okay, let me recap. So when I
Yeah.
went to the first slide, one second. Okay, this was ECC. Okay, ECC means Enterprise Central Component. So when you talk about ECC, how ECC came into the picture? ECC is Enterprise Central Component. Anything that happens in the enterprise, any module like finance, there would be central finance, there would be cost controlling, there would be in extended warehouse management, there would be materials management, sales and distribution, plant maintenance, there would be production planning, there would be uh, CRM, your customer relationship management. All that is a part of ECC, whatever happens in ERP. Okay, but how ERP came into picture? ERP is enterprise resource planning. Any resources you want to plan, okay, and how it works in the favor of the company with the business operations, with the on the overlook of the business intelligence. Business intelligence means, let's say you have all these modules that I showed you about. Okay, I'll make a standard configuration, I'll make sure everyone in this works, and I'll overlook with the data management and the data intelligence. So I'll prepare a report of the supply chain, how much logistics is coming, going out, where are my inventory used. If I give example of a DHL project that is with EY right now, in DHL what happens is they have routes. Okay, in transport management module SAP TM, there's a route management. So when you talk about route management, we evaluate 5-6 routes. So whatever courier comes to you, let's say in India you have DTDC or Maruti Couriers or XYZ or a lot of courier companies, right? So sometimes I also get confused. So let's say you have Indian Speed Post or something like that, that is also having ERP. All these companies definitely will have ERP. They'll have definitely B4NL, SAP TM, and sometimes also Yard Logistics, which is again you have to do materials management. Then only you can go into supply chain. There is no supply chain without materials management. So when you talk about all this, the route management, the route management works basically on ERP. Let's say you ordered a courier from Flipkart, but to deliver to your home, there might be 7 guys out in the same line. How that will work is the supply chain, how manufacturing works. You have to manufacture the entire product. This is a SAP plant. This SAP is production planning. You have SAP HCM, human human capital management or human resource, HRM. Okay, then you have project management, that is your project owner or the project manager will do. Then you have CRM. Then you have service maintenance, which is also the plant maintenance module. The SAP sales and distribution, SD. The purchase management, SAP MM, metals management. You have asset management, which is again SAP enterprise asset management, SAP EAM. So you manage the assets, you utilize them, you make sure that they are continuously serviced and maintained. Then you make the data analysis, whichever production or whichever guys are lagging, you tell them, okay, please work on this so that we'll get this much production, we'll get this much based on the targets from the BI. Have I cleared your doubt?
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. If it is like any shortcuts also comes, then you can also make that.
I'll tell you about
like that means.
Okay, BW means business warehouse, business intelligence. There is a model called BIBW. But when you talk about BIBW, there's an extension of it called BO. I was a BIBW BO consultant. Then I switched to MM. Then I did SAP TSW. Then I did ESG, EUDR, and also Green Token. And when you keep adding on modules, it is in favor of your own resume. So you get the touch of industry, you get the touch of different markets. I worked on the US market, I worked on the Europe market, I've been to Southern market as well. When I talk about Southern, it is the South Asia. Okay, so you are telling about SAP BI, BW, that is business intelligence, the business warehouse, and BO means business objective. There's another model called SAP PIPO, process integration and process orchestration, which talks between two different modules. I'll show you, that is also mentioned on the website about the SAP EDI, right? If you guys have went to the brochure in the phase 2 of Advanced S4 HANA, when you talk about RISE-FW, the I in the RISE-FW stands for interface. I have developed interfaces for companies that are already up and running and already there on the government, the state government, PSU government's portal. They're already there. I can show you in and outs of that portal. I can show you the basic details to the advanced level S4 HANA. Any doubts you can ask for me. I'm available on the weekends, weekdays, 24/7 for you. Just drop in a message to your guidance counselor who was there for you in the first time. They'll get you connected directly to me. I'll be very happy to help. Any doubts till now apart from that? So before we continue the different phases in SAP cycle, so like I was giving example of buttermilk, I'll be drinking the buttermilk as well, because when you talk about Ananda, right? Ananda is one of the biggest milk, or I would say milk product manufacturing companies out there in the south. And when I talk about the Amul is a cooperative society. When you talk about a cooperative society, it means everyone is a owner. People give whatever they have. Okay, they'll put money, they'll put their efforts, they will manage the entire thing. So Amul is one of the largest in the north, Ananda is in the south, and similarly other companies. So you'll have the like there's a thing called Pudina buttermilk or mint buttermilk, right? Milk and masala, something like that. They will portray it. So you have different materials, different pricing, different things, and then the pricing comes. Okay, but to make a buttermilk, how will it work? It will work from a P2P cycle. From P2P standpoint, we'll talk about it. Any doubts if you have, guys? I'm waiting for this is a open question for anyone. Whenever I ask or whenever I talk, I want feedback. I really appreciate feedbacks. Honesty is the best policy. Like your mom always used to say when you were in childhood, right? I'm also saying the same thing. Please give me honest feedback. If I lack somewhere, if I'm not training you well, if I'm not giving my 100%, even if it's 99.99, please come back to me. Tell me, okay, sir, this is what I wanted to ask, and you didn't answer. I want the answers. Okay, I need you guys to be as good as I am sitting right now. Okay, great. So we have any doubts in the previous slides? Great. Let's start with the P2P phases. So what's a P2P cycle? P2P is not peer-to-peer, not your ordinary transactions that you're doing in a bank, or not your payment gateways. It's the procure to pay cycle. So when I talk about procure to pay, the procure to pay means what? You procure and you pay. So let's say you have a urge to get something tasty tonight, or maybe order a gaming PC. Most of you are guys, right? You'll understand my point. So let's say you want to have a laptop that works like magic. It's very smooth, it has the highest configuration, it has everything that you always dreamt of a laptop to be. Your perfect games, your PS4 is there, right? You can connect to it, you can play your games, you can have your friends over, cousins coming in, checking out your laptop, and you would be the star in that perspective. So in that P2P cycle, you have what? You have a thinking power, you have a demand. What is a demand? You knew that you had a requirement of this particular laptop. You have the specification in the mind, you have the technical specifications are there, you have the request, you have the purchase request, which is called the purchase requisition, but that is in your mind. Okay, but when you actually source it, source means you're going in the market, you're asking different people, you're asking, let's say there are different markets, right? There's a Kolkata market, there's a Delhi market, there's a Mumbai market, and there's a Bangalore market, in which is also one of the tech hubs. And also there's a continuous supply of the materials. Okay, so in that case, the demand is in your head, right? But you went actually to the people saying like, okay, I need this AMD Ryzen 9 laptop with XYZ GT4s, whatever configurations, right? Somebody told you 2 lakh rupees, somebody told you 2 lakh 10,000, somebody told you 1 lakh 80, somebody told you, okay, keep it, give me payment later. But that payment is 2.5 lakhs. They made you EMIs. So how will you compare the quotations? This is what? This is the quotation. So when you compare the quotes, this is called compare quotation, and then you select one vendor. So whatever you have selected, you will get the order to that vendor. Okay, bhaiya, give me this laptop. So they'll be packing you, giving you a bill. Okay, once you have received the laptop, you will be billed with the invoice. So once you have received that laptop, you will go payment, go happy to home, sit with the cousins, eat chips and cold drink, and get to sleep. Okay, so how that P2P cycle implemented. Similarly, let me give you example again. So I'll give you example of this time automotive industry. Let's compare Rolls Royce or maybe Toyota or Volkswagen. In Toyota, there is a 23 stages of the production line. I hope everyone knows what when I mean production line. I don't mean they're just fixing screws. No, the entire car is built in 6 to 7 days. A Toyota car is built in 7 days. Okay, and in that days they will paint it. They'll fix the screws. They'll fit the assembly. They'll fit the flywheel, the chain, the there is engine fitting, then there is a layering of the paint, there is ramming, and then there is polishing. The shine that a Toyota car has, it has 3 to 4 layers minimum. Okay, if it's a production car, if it is mass produced, they'll have minimum 3 layers. If it is a new launch, 5 to 7 layers. Okay, so there is cost cutting everywhere, but let's not get into this. So Toyota follows a policy of JIT, just in time. So when we'll talk about the material master, I'll tell you where this JIT is, just in time. It is not a part of materials management. It is a part of supply chain. When I talk about supply chain is different. Materials management is different. So let's say a customer ordered from sales. Okay, from sales point of view, a customer ordered us a Toyota car. How will that car work? Without an engine, without a body, without an assembly. So you will need to have a hood. You'll need to have if there is a roof, there would be a sunroof, tail lamps, the windshield, the wipers, the antennas, the radio inside, the AC component, the kit that you will have for the braking system, the steering wheels, the gear system, gearbox, the engines. Everything should be pitch perfect. The client should not be worrying about, oh, why there is no seat for me to sit. Okay, they should be comfortable. Everything should be there. So for making a car, let's say you don't have a flywheel. Flywheel is a part of the assembly of the wheel that connects the wheel with the engine, so it rotates and your car works. Okay, it is very crucial for the functioning. So there would be 3 vendors. One of the vendors, or maybe 6 or 7, I can give you examples, so on and on. So there would be vendors. First vendor would be like, okay, this is the top class category. I'll give you this top class category, category A, with this certification and this is material. The second vendor will tell, okay, same category, same function, but 10,000 rupees less. I'll give you a discount because you're my first client for the day. The third vendor says, less category, price is more. Fourth vendor says, lower category, category B, price is less. What will you choose? So your specification should be determined with a request. A request means a purchase request, which is an internal request of any organization. Then comes the sourcing. You will compare the quotations of all these. Once you compare, you will select a vendor which is the lowest bid vendor and also meeting the technical criteria. Once these 2 things are met, you will place a purchase contract. A contract can be, okay, for this 1 year or for this 2 years, you give me the material based on this specific terms. Terms would be like, okay, payment terms are decided and the very basic things are decided. There would be no technical details. The technical details are already given in the bill of quantity and the technical specification document, which is also called as TSD. When you go to tendering, there's a thing called TSD, technical specification document. Then when you give the order means a purchase order. A purchase order only means that you have given, this is the first form of communication that happens between the client, which is the SAP customer or SAP client, and SAP client with the vendor. So vendor, you have given the order of that flywheel. Okay, That flywheel has to be of some particular quality, and that
नहीं वो
particular
लाया है, भर के
class.
लाया है, वो भर
Shubham,
के लाया था आर्यन।
Shubham, can I mute you? Shubham, hello. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so that flywheel has to be of particular quality, like the category ABC or maybe VBR. That would be a different category or a class. If anyone is from mechanical engineering, please you can verify if I'm telling the right category, because I did it very long back. Okay, the different category, there is ABC, ABC and VBR or VPR, something like that I read about. And these categories are having a price difference of more than 10,000 to 12,000 rupees. It's the tensile strength of the material, or a steel or maybe a pipe, in which if you bend it or if you break it, the ABC won't do it. But the Chinese related materials, there are three types of categories in China also. The third category is a different thing and it will break. So we do not need anything that will break in a car, because the quality is the name of a company. So if a Tata cars are not built that solid, people would not be surviving the accidents. The Tata would not have the sales growth of 22% this year. They would have failed like Toyota. They would fail like Nissan. Nissan exited out of the Indian market last week, and this was the plan from last 2 years. So when I talk about all this, the quality of the product matters. The basic instruction, how the material, the flywheel will be delivered, the delivery date, the price of the flywheel, the quantity of the flywheel, the vendor details, the vendor account, email number. Account means vendor particular code ID, the vendor details, the vendor communication address, the salesperson, the plant in which the vendor will be delivering it, the store locations, the material details. Anything other than that would be there in the purchase order. It is the first form of communication that happens after the vendor selection, and in the particular due date, the material has to be supplied for the particular quantity at a particular plant at a particular date. So this is the purchase order. So but when you receive, let's say after 1 month, the vendor comes in, okay, you ordered 100 flywheels for your factory. Now you have to prepare 100 cars. Okay, I have brought this, and please give me my payment. So if you find a quality check, so there are quality engineers also. So the person who's a quality engineer will do a strength test from from a material. From every lot, they'll do a strength test or something test. Like if it is chemical, there would be a chemical engineer. If it is not a chemical, there would be some different engineer who will do a quality check. If this is a broken part or not, will you receive a broken, or will they get back the broken items? Will the vendor can accept it or not? So all this will be checked when you do a goods receipt, but it is a part of quality management. Will not go to quality management. It is a separate module, but you need to know what happens in a real case scenario, right? The next step is invoicing. So when I talk about invoicing means once you have received the materials, the vendor is also liable to pay. Okay, what happens if you don't pay? The vendor will formally lodge a complaint that these guys have robbed me of my product and not paid me. So a company has to pay to keep the materials. They will sell it. They will also have to pay the vendor. So invoice comes. The invoicing is a part of materials management consultant, which will be you guys. That is your roles and responsibility. So this entire P2P cycle ends when a vendor is fully paid from the SAP T code that is called Miro. Miro means vendor invoice payments. The invoice payments would occur only when you have received the materials, and there is a three-way check. So right now I have given you one keyword which is called three-way check. You guys need to do a homework in the entire P2P cycle, the procure to pay cycle. What does a three-way check mean? Come back with this. This is your homework. Okay, I'm giving you very less work. This is just 1 minute read. You can go through what is a three-way check. Three-way check, how it is relevant to us in a SAP domain, or without SAP also, just for technical knowledge, how it is relevant. Great, let's get to next. So when I was telling you about very basics of P2P cycle, it has different phases. This is the extended version of it. So when I was telling you that the entire thought is in your head, right? You need recognition, right? If you need a flywheel, then you will make what a purchase requisition. Requisition means you will ask your internal approval. So a PR is an internal document. Internal document means you will not be putting it out to the vendor. A vendor will not have this is a draft document. Draft means it will be approved. It will have the entire cycle of whatever the document workflow is. It will go to your seniors. It will go to your industry business owners, and it will get to a review request. If the budget is there to procure 100 flywheels, the budget is approved, you will get the quotes. The quotation will be requested from vendors. It will send to some vendors, which is the OEM. OEM is the original equipment manufacturer. If you put a OEM guy and ask for quote, they will send you a quotation in which the BOQ means the bill of quantity will be filled. You will have the quantities, 10 quantities. Okay, this much bill, this much way, this much amount is there. Negotiation and contract. So will someone from your team or the client team will call and be like, hello sir, we needed 10 boxes of Domino's pizzas, something like that, or we need 100 boxes of tissue papers for a restaurant, or we need let's say if it's a food, we can put palm oil, right? If it's a food industry, we can put palm oil. Let's say there's a Saigon palm oil in the Vietnam. Okay, in Saigon palm oil, what they do is whatever in Indian markets, whatever street food you are using, everything has a palm oil. You might have heard about a company called Palmolive or something like that. So that is 180 rupees per liter, and your this mustard oil, it's of 210 or 220 per liter. I'm not remember the price exactly, maybe 230 also. So because of the 50 rupees margin difference, people play with their health when you eat fast food. So this Saigon palm oil, what they do is they extract the palm from the palm trees. They extract the oil, they will put, and they will negotiate. So let's say you want to get one ship full of the palm oil, right? Or one barrel full of palm oil, or 10 barrels of full of palm oil, because you have a industry like Saffola or Fortune or something like that. So what you need to do is you need to negotiate first, because nobody gives on the set price. So once, let's say you're a vegetable seller, you also will negotiate for it, right? And if you are also going into the job market, you will also negotiate for salary. So price is one of the points in which somebody from the client's team, the purchase department, will call, negotiate with the vendor, and fix a contract. So that contract, based on the PR, the initial details of the technical documents, the PR, the quality of the materials, quotes are given, negotiations are done. Like this vendor is giving us the same quality you are giving, but you're giving a good higher margin. Can you come down a little low? And once this gets low, we'll negotiate with the first vendor. Okay, come a little more low, same quality, same everything, lesser price. So we'll negotiate with the first vendor, not the second. Second is there for a dummy. Okay, so this is the negotiation tactics that the purchasing department do. It is not a part, it is the purchasing department. We are SAP consultants, so we need to know what happens in the real life. The next is goods receipt and services. So what's a good receipt? Good receipt means you have done a contract, you have done a PO, and then you are receiving the goods, or maybe it can be a service also. Let's say I want to make a job would be like, I want to hire a person with a car to drive around the city, because I need to go to visits of my sites. Okay, so a site might be in the same city but at different locations of the city, or a site might be very big that I cannot walk. If I walk, it will waste my time. So I'll have somebody who is driving me around. The driver is doing a service for us. He's a service vendor. So for that, I'll take his basic details, put him into the IT taxes, which is 194J in the Indian tax laws, and put a 10% GST, or 10% income tax on the IT services, and or the services on the contractual roles. And then you will have the three-way match. Your homework is, what is a three-way match? A three-way match would help you get through the basic details I want to explain. So once you do a three-way match, it ensures authenticity of a invoice. And once your invoice is done, you will have a invoice payment, and for the record keeping, it will go into SAP system. So three-way match, why it is a homework? Because it is an authentication process. This is an interview question which I want you to read. All of you should come back saying that, okay, I read this and now I know what is a three-way match. A three-way match also include a maker and checker rule. So when I tell you about a maker checker rule, it also include the recipient goods services in a three-way check. So you need to get the basic details, what is being matched, why it is called a three-way. I'll not explain now, we'll get it back when you come for the next session. So you might, like I said, you might have different cycles involved. Different cycle, by different cycle I mean there's a P2P cycle. Okay, the procure to pay, in which your supervisor would be there, your maintenance in charge would be there, the head of departments would be there, the accountant would be there, and there are different roles and responsibilities. And who amongst all will know the roles and responsibility apart from SAP consultant? The product owner, the managers. You need to talk through. You need, the only thing that as a functional consultant should be good at is the way they talk. The more you talk, the more you understand the business process, the easier it gets to implement into the SAP system. So like before we were talking about, what is SAP Fiori? Till here it is clear, right? Hello?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, clear, right? Okay, you guys need a 15-minute break. Anyone who needs a 15-minute break? I can see chats. Okay, Deepak. Okay, Arjun. Arun, sorry. Let's take a 15-minute break. I'll stop screen sharing. I'll stop video. And if you have any doubts, please drop the text. What I can do for you is I can give you a 15-minute break. Let me go and grab some water because my throat is also getting a little dried up. Please stay on the call. We'll continue with the basics and the overview that I'll be teaching you in the next sessions. So this is going to be a good game changer for you, as you will get to know what we are going through and how I have planned the next 60 or next 59 hours for you. So first session is the overview session. So you get familiar. From today evening, you'll get the system. Today evening or tomorrow, Monday, you will get the systems. I'll give you the basic details, and anyone who has any doubts in the middle of the sessions as well, I'm ready to help you on weekdays also and weekends as well. Great. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's 11:39, 15 minutes gap. So we'll come back at 11:45. Stay on the call. Hi everyone. I think everyone is back now. Shall we start? It's already been 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Start my video, share my screen. Here we are. Okay, so till here we have done. Now we'll get into SAP Fiori. So what does Fiori mean? And why I'm telling you Fiori at the first that we are going to do. The simple explanation to this is Fiori means a flower, and who doesn't like a flower? So SAP Fiori, in simple terms, it's not just a flower. It's all about how your SAP screen looks like. So it was launched by SAP, which has over 500,000 plus application from the SAP Business Suite. It is a role-based application which is being used by the guided configuration. One second, I'm on recording. Yes, recording will be shared SRK. Okay, great. So you can use the SAP Fiori on the go. It is a real-time application for 300 plus role-based modules like HR, manufacturing, finance, production. Then you'll have the sales, you'll have the procurement. All these would be coming under Fiori. And in Italian, Fiori means a flower. So this is also an interview question. What does Fiori means? That's it. Simple, very basic explanation. And SAP Login Pad was having the datas. First of all, it is called a GUI. I'll show you how a GUI looks. 1 second. So this is a SAP GUI. So when I click on it, it looks very odd. This is the very odd SAP GUI. I don't remember the passwords, otherwise I would have logged in and show you right now. So we have different themes. If I go here, if I go on themes, settings, interactive design, visual, that's not the visual. Yeah, we have different themes: SAP signature theme, SAP gold, green, purple. So any one of you, if you have anything like color blindness or maybe any issues with the blue color or a green color or a purple or all this, you can pick a color that suits your eye. Okay, so there are different themes. There is a classic theme in which this is what SAP looks like. There's a Brook Crystal theme. There's a SAP signature theme. So all these can be applied. Click on OK and you're done with. So this is all about SAP logon. So if I click, let's see if it changed. Yeah, it's okay, same only. Great. So the internal insides of it will change. We'll give you one SAP GUI document like this. So what you have is under GUI, you'll have Windows, you'll have Win32, and you'll have a system configuration. 1 second. System configuration for SAP All. So once you install SAP All, setup all, this will be your setup, the entire guides. Once you have installed SAP, you will get something to configure in the system and it will look like this: SAP logon GUI. Rajat, can you please mute? Okay, thank you. So this is the SAP logon. So in the logon, you will be having all the clear picture of how SAP works. Once we'll start through the entire journey with you guys. So what is SAP Fiori? Why we are using it? Because it is showing all the analytical applications. So if you can see, I've pasted a screenshot in which you have the mobile view. This is the application view. I have only copied the screenshot and made it enlarged. So you have the purchase requisition. Okay, so let's say you want to have a iPad 11 inch Pro model. Okay, it's 799.99 USD, but that's not the exact costing. The costing would come only when you make a quantity selection. So this is a PR, just one simple PR. There would be different PRs, there would be different modules, there would be different integrations. So SAP works on design principle for a better user interface and for making it look interactive. It is applicable on mobile devices as well as on the systems. So when I talk about systems, I mean the entire desktop or entire website would be of SAP. So if you go to your phones, go to your Play Store, go to your iOS devices, search about SAP, you will get a SAP SuccessFactors or SAP Fiori, all that in your phone only. So it's a mobile based application. It is also a system based application in which you can do the enterprise level software solution analysis based on the Fiori applications. So when I was telling you about the SAP architecture or the Fiori architecture, how it works is you have a front end layer. This is level 1. Then there is a dispatcher layer. There's level 2. And when you put the ABAP, which is the NetWeaver layer, you will have this third level. And then the database layer. So database is a 4-level architecture. So whatever happens in SAP, it is either from your mobile devices or your laptops or your desktop. You will come down to 4. You'll come down to 4 different levels, and into this, your client level will be there. Your interface, you will have one interface layer. You'll have one application layer. You'll have one database layer, and you will also be doing the analytical processing. The database is just the middle of the analytical and the interactive layer. So interactive is the front end system, the back end system, whatever is working. So all this comes up to be your 4-level architecture. This is going to be a lean service procurement. So by lean service, I mean how easily you can do the service entry sheet within 5 clicks. Your entire service entry sheet is made out. So earlier we used to create the ML81N. ML81N is a T code to create a service entry sheet. But when I talk about lean services service entry sheet, it is an advanced SAP concept that was introduced in 2017 and also followed on through 2019 with multiple enhancements. Enhancements by means multiple improvements in the system, multiple improvements in the process. So lean principle, what is a lean principle says? It should be perfect, it should be concise, it should have the value. What is the value that you're giving up? It should have the top down approach. Top down approach means the value map, value streams. For example, I have a service requirement for someone who's driving my car, but for someone who is also waiting for me, waiting charges also included, everything is included, the fuel cost, everything. So that comes in the car service. Okay, I'm buying a car for moving across from site to site in a same city, but I have different multiple sites because I might not get the same plot everywhere. Okay, and the same amount of resources I would not get. So all that is taken into considerations. You will have a lean service. A lean service only means you will have, it will be based on a lean principle in which you will have a proper workflow, proper identification of the value, proper data pull, or you will have the target mapping. When I talk about lean services, it only means you will have the lean service entry sheet, which is much easier to use from the earlier transaction code that was ML81N. So I'll also be teaching you this. So when I talk about roles, so like we said about roles and authorizations, you have different profiles like a supervisor. A supervisor would have the access to monitor everything. You will have the transaction codes, okay, T codes, which we call as T codes. When I say T code, it means transaction codes. Like ML81N is a transaction code. Transaction can only be 0 or 100. It cannot be in the middle. But SAP, because of the cloud functionality, has offered, okay, somebody texted, has offered. रजत जी मैं आपको हिंदी में भी समझा सकता हूं, but okay, I will send you a link, Shubham Kumar, I will send you a link to download the SAP, so you will get all the details of SAP. The path I showed, you'll just have to install. A guy will call you from our team. He'll get you installed. He'll give you your ID, password, credentials by today or by Monday evening, because today is his leave. So because people don't work on Sundays, right? So today is his leave. He's not working today. He can give it today if he's free, or else I'll ask him to give it tomorrow by evening positively. Okay, so he'll be having the server access for the next 3 months. You will practice everything that I'm teaching you. This is the first session. I'm not giving you much work. और रजत जी मैं आपको हिंदी में समझा सकता हूँ, but दिक्कत ये है, we have people from background who are from South India as well. The Hindi might not work for everyone. So this is going to be a pure English class. If you need any other help, you can contact me. You can get in touch with me on a weekday. I'll explain you in Hindi. My Hindi is as perfect as my English is. And when you talk about course, the entire course is in English, because in the end you want to get a job, right? This is a job oriented course. When I prepare you what questions are asked, what is the market going on, and how you need to proceed with my expertise. So the entire course is going to be in English, because in the end your interviews will be in English. We have a tie-up with Infosys, Hyper, Technocraft, and we know people that are in Mawai, Octane, Automatic Infotech. If you're from South, you might have heard about all these companies. If not, you might have heard about Quest, the Square Solutions Private Limited. All these companies are in touch. So when I talk about these companies, they do a mass hiring. When they do a mass hiring, they hire people locally. You might not get the notification, you might not get anything. They just put up a board, people come and give interviews. That's it. We don't do like that. We get in touch. We have a similar ecosystem. In ecosystem, what we do is we make people understand about how SAP works. We teach them, and then because of our partnership or with all these companies, we get you hired in a SAP company only, IT services. So when you want to transition your career, when I was counseling everyone, I got to know the very basic of it was you guys have a salary issue and a knowledge issue. If I fix the knowledge issue, the salary issue will be automatically fixed. So when you talk in interviews, you need to have a fluent communication. You need to have a fluent knowledge. The perfect grip that I'll give you, that grip is only covered in English and also in Hindi. If you need Hindi, please contact me, connect with me separately. In any case of doubts, you guys are free to ask me anytime. I'll be available 24/7 for you. You can ask for time. You can book my slots. I'll be there. Okay. Okay. Coming back to the topic, we have the lean principle that works for the lean service entry sheets. And with 5 clicks, the service entry sheet will be created. You will have the perfect dashboard. You will have the workflow, and then you will have the basics of whatever the organizational, whatever the works in the organization as a service entry sheet. So, what are the components of a role? So, what is a role? It's not just one person, it's all about one department. So let's say in a industry there would be the lowest would be a junior engineer. In a manufacturing industry, junior engineer, then comes the assistant engineer, then comes the executive, then on top of that would be a chief engineer that would be in charge of a circle, okay, and or a CGM, okay. And apart from that, sorry, a superintending engineer, above this SE there would be SE level 2, then would be chief engineer, then there would be chief engineer level 2. So when you talk about all these backgrounds, there's a hierarchy, right? The top guys, the SE level 2, chief engineer level 1, level 3, they will, all of these will have the authorization to view whatever work you're doing. They'll have the access to the reports of every module, every dashboards. And when you talk about the profile of whatever they're working on, or if you talk about which roles are there, which authorization objects are to be given, it is purely when you understand the business process and SAP more. So in a client side, there are different organization levels. Tomorrow we'll cover the in the next session we'll cover the organization levels. What does organization level means? The organization level starts from a client. A client has a company code. Company code is a plant has a store location, but these company codes will also have a purchase organization, and how that purchase organization is linked to each purchase group and store location, that would be also be covered in the organization levels. So that is where you need to continue the next session, the next week. Okay, so what is the applications of SAP? So because we are taking the very basics, I'll tell you how you can get a job and where you can get a job. So there are different industries. Okay, so SAP is not just a software. When I say it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it happens from right where you are born, and it works till you're not here anymore in the earth, right, till you die. So in the retail industry, you have merchandising, you have inventory, you have healthcare. So when I talk about patient management, SAP, how it is playing a vital role. So let's say you remember about the corona time, right? You had a company coming in called AstraZeneca or Biocon or else Moderna, Pfizer. What are these companies doing? These are the largest manufacturers of the vaccines. How a vaccine is manufactured? It has a glass bottle. It has some glass bottle, and that glass bottle will have a labeling. That labeling comes in the supply chain. That the manufacturing would come into the purchasing and also the sales. You will have the manufacturing. Apart from that, you'll have the factories. When you grow up, you work in a factory. When you're small, you'll go to retail stores. The retail, SAP IS retail is also one thing that is integrated with materials management. So when you go to retail stores, you'll buy something called Cheetos or a packet of chips, Uncle Chips, or maybe Lay's. That would also include the lollipops you might have taken, or the candies that you give to your kids. All that, how it will be integrated means you will have the entire thing in place when you have a clear picture. So from a retail store to hospital to factories to manufacturing units to even a car tires. If you talk about MRF, the share of MRF is more than 1,20,000 per share today. Okay, so in that case, anything from very basic to the very advanced level, everything is covered in SAP. Nothing that gets to you. Even a laptop, even a mobile phone has a chipset, has a supply chain. Even a cover is you paid someone, they paid someone else, they had a manufacturing industry, they had procured some materials, everything is coming in from SAP. So when you talk about utilities, when you talk about finance, when you talk about risk management, so all this is coming in the part of SAP. So you can get in the jobs into these stores, and also you can get the jobs into maybe not just stores, it can be factories, it can be hospital, you can be in charge of IT department, you can get a job into Volkswagen also hires SAP people, you can get a job into the IT domain as well. So there are different places you can get a job, and it is not limited to just industries, it is also limited, it is also not limited to IT industries. So both ways you can work into IT and non-IT professions, but you have to get a know-how of the software and how it works. So coming to the exact point how a SAP project works, so most of you had a doubt, sir, will we get the basics of or the details of how SAP project works, is this a live project or not? So to clear that doubt, I'll clear the air right now. The SAP implementation, nobody gives you the implementation, right? I'll tell you how I implemented, how you can implement, and what's the perfect path. Right now, this is just one page of slide. I have a 26-page slide to explain the each phase one by one. So first phase, this is not just one thing. This is just the SAP implementation phase on the agile methodology. If you guys know agile is a kind of, it's a part of a Scrum Master. Scrum is a different technology. Agile is a methodology in which SAP implementation works. So when I talk about phases of SAP, it's not just SAP. For any software, you can do this. So you have planning and preparation phase, right? Planning and preparation phase, it's also called as the discover phase. The discover phase includes your pre-sales team. Pre-sales team will come, they'll pitch the client. They'll be like, okay, this is the costing coming out, this is your documentation, we are ready to implement. What's the costing? Let's get the timeline ready. What's your current budget? What's your solution requirement? They'll identify, they'll do a preparation, and then once they set, they will prepare a team. The preparation phase or a discover phase, you will prepare a team. The team selection is done, right? And then you will do a business blueprint. Okay, the business blueprint, the second step is business blueprint. Business blueprints comes when you're able to get the details of the business. So business details, how will you get? Each day you'll sit one guy with one guy. Let's say you are sitting with purchasing guy today, the head of the purchasing, the XENs, the maybe the purchasing department manager would be there. All these people you will get in touch with, you will understand the entire business process, what they are doing, what they want in ERP, and how they want it. You'll make a clear picture of business blueprint, that is called a BBP. And then you will create two documents. One is called as is, the second is called as to be. As is means where we are and what is the current business process, and to be means what is the system supposed to be looked like or looking like. That is where we have to go. From where we are to where we have to go, that is an extension to BBP. So the client has a clear documentation picture. That will also be covered in the phase 2 of the implementation, when I'll tell you the last 30 hours what is advanced S/4HANA, what is agile methodology, and it will take one session for all of these phases to be covered. One session means business blueprint is a separate, testing is separate, implementation is separate, support is separate, preparation and blueprint I think can be combined into one. But these are itself in depth, there are different topics. Whatever I've learned till now, I'll give you the 100% information as is. Okay, then comes the implementation part. Now implementation is not simple. Implementation will require you 10 times to do the same work. I have reworked on my own objects for 18 times because the client requirement changed every time. So in the business blueprint, as is to be, the entire purpose to make a documentation is the client requirement should not change. But implementation, when you implement, there are different kinds where different times where you make sure that the client requirements satisfied, you configure the system correctly, then you test the system. The fourth is testing the system. So this is called the realize phase, and then you go to system testing, where you have a unit testing, the system integration testing, like the cross modules, SAP MM with the FICO, MM with the SD, MM with the PM. All this will be the part of testing. Then you will ask the client, okay, give us a unit testing. In the final preparation phase, you will give the client a unit testing, for which you will make a document how to test this. All your testing documents will be given to the client. The client will take one sample data. They'll try to create a PR or maybe a PO or maybe a invoicing, the entire P2P cycle, the cross modules, the STOs, MMSD integration. They'll try to create their on their own. So once that happens and the client says, okay, I'm able to do so. Once you are able to capture that, you will get into go live. Go live happens for 1 to 1.5 months based on the client size, but minimum 1.5 months. And you will be in a very, very hectic environment in which you would be working 12 to 14 hours per day just for 1 month. And not all, it is not always mandatory, but if you're able to keep your tasks sorted, if the client is sorted with your task, happy with your performance, manager is, then the working hours are limited to 8 only. So what happens in go live? Go live is a sprint. So when I talk about sprints, sprint is when you work extra. It is not your regular work. You work for 8 hours, that is fine. Sprint is you are working for 10 to 12 hours each day, but it extends to 14 also. I worked for 16 hours one day as well, but it was only for one day. So I didn't had any issues because it was something that was very, very general, right? And then comes the product support. So when you support, you will get the different kind of knowledge how a SAP tool works. So we have different tools. I can show you the Sapphire tool, how a SAP support Sapphire tool works. So I can show you entire process, entire system, entire details in depth, how SAP implementation can work and should work. And what is SAP? Just give me 1 second. Let me exit. I think this photo is coming a little side. Okay, I think it is grouped now. Okay, great. So when you talk about SAP, the future demands, okay, it is linked with IoTs. IoT, it might be, you might have got Alexa home or AI model or a big data, right? So there are different technologies, the SAP cloud services, the AI. So I've worked in AI NLP project in which you reverse engineer the all the details of a SAP consultant. Whatever you guys are doing, whatever you are learning, same will be done by system, but the system cannot configure all the details in the SPRO. So when I talk about SPRO, SPRO is a SAP guided configuration. We'll talk about SPRO, we'll talk about the this everything, but we'll start from the very basics of the master data. The next session will be about master data, organizational levels, and the types of master data. And okay, this is the certification you will get at the last of the course completion after 60 hours. Maybe you guys have already been aware about. I'll be teaching you about mock sessions, interview, resume preparation, professional photos, placement support, everything will be given. So this is the very basic overview of whatever we are doing here at GTR Academy. And you can ask questions. Otherwise, I can give you 5-10 minutes extra of my time, so we can get into the end-to-end details of what is SAP and who guys in which were the guys. So these are the 5 IBM engineers that made the SAP software: Warren Russell, Hop, Hector, Plantner, and Chusra. So when you talk about SAP, all these 5 names would be your interview questions. What are the advantages of SAP? Basic, I have already told you about. We'll give you all the documents, we'll give you everything. The only thing that I need from you is ask me as many as doubts you have. Ask me anything about SAP. Or even if you want to ask anything other than that, you can ask anything about ERP, as I know a lot about different technologies as well. Any of these modules, if I can answer, I would be happy to help you. So these are the other modules: finance, CO, MM, SD, PM, PS. And what happens with a functional engineer or functional technical consultant would be, you will be just not included in your module. You might also be looking somewhat like a quality basics integrations SD integrations, PP integrations, PM integrations, but not in depth. So one of the modules apart from MM is ABAP. ABAP is one of the key core technical modules in which you would also be dealing with how the SAP works, what is the programming, and how you can leverage SAP ABAP. Basic, a little technical knowledge is good for everyone, and how you can leverage it to get a good oversight or a project picture that you can close your objects more often. When I say objects, it means the task. It means every details of the modules that you're talking about. So let's say you are working as a consultant, right, in a big four or in a Infosys company. So all in all, you'll get in depth knowledge, and also you will get the uh, crux information. If I tell you about like if I was telling you about other softwares, right, JD Edwards, Oracle, Ban, PeopleSoft, these are all ERP tools. But why SAP is having the 92% market share in the Fortune 500 companies. And when you talk about without ERP, can I do? Excel cannot handle 1 million data. It cannot take different details, the different servers, the different things that we are doing. And I'll continue with all these. This is a document that I have prepared for you guys, basic and advanced level also. We'll try to get you all this into organizational data, types of master data, like I was telling you about. And by the end of this session, I'll tell you what are the tools, what are the interview questions, the GST, the MRP process, the MMPP integrations, what is MRP run, right? What is LTMC? This is LTMC or LTM will get you a job. But getting a job, if I tell you with 7 question, 8 question, you can do it right now. But I do not want you to go empty-handed and be like, okay, sir didn't taught us. I want to teach you. I want to teach you as good as I am. I want to teach you as perfect as you have to be. So all this will be done. Migration cockpits, what is the migration approach, what is the greenfield, brownfield, hybrid approach, all that will be covered in the next sessions. Okay, so don't skip any class. Please be attentive. I need your 100% attention. I might be repeating some things, but it is for your own good, so you can get into this. So the BP is an interview question. Again, every topic in this document is an interview question. So what I was telling you about was the SAP methodology, how SAP HANA works, what is a business suite, what is SAP upgrade project, what is a rollout project, how is a ticketing tool works, what is a ticketing tool. All this I'll guide you through. This is 192 pages document. It will help you get a job 100%. Only this document, nothing else. What is RISE-FW? I can tell you about each in details. What's the AMS project? All this we need to get it through. Okay, through your head. When I say it, don't mind my words. Just mind what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you what projects we'll get, what kind of client you will get. You need to make sure that you're working for it. So anything in that sense will work for it, will get the jobs. And I want your name to be flashed on the board, like this is the guy who got 100% hike or 200% hike, maybe 50%, maybe 30, it doesn't matter. But end of the day, I need everyone to be into a better job and into a better sphere as a career part is involved. Okay, with that, any other doubts? I am leaving the floor to you guys. You have 15 minutes to ask me anything you want.
So actually, we have any real projects based on the theory what we are going to explain?
See, it is not just theory. I'll give you the work. Let's say when you talk about projects, okay, anyone will not give you project. I can only show you the integration part. I cannot show you the client system. It is called client confidentiality agreement. I cannot break it. If I break it, there would be legal allegations or legal lawsuits against me, which is again a risk to me. Okay, so there is a risk. I will not do it. So when you talk about is there a live project, nobody in the market will give you a live project. First thing. Second thing, when I teach, I'll not just show you the documents or the PPTs. I'll also show you the configurations. I'll give you the system. You can ask me anything from the system. I'll tell you everything from the system. You can come back with the doubts. I'll give you interview questions. You'll be able to clear the mock interviews. You will be able to clear the interview questions as well. I'll give you scenarios of how this is worked upon. So we'll take one example like a Tata Steel plant, or we'll take example of let's say we'll take example of palm oil. a food and beverage industry, or we can take example of a power generation industry. All these we can do. We can take example of Volkswagen project or something that is already worked upon by some other project. So it is not going to be that typical for you guys, right? Raghunath?
Yeah, and thanks for the clarification. And one more doubt. I don't think that I'm making more doubts questions. Sorry.
Okay, you guys can ask me anything, right? I'll tell you what is an interview question. I'll tell you what is not. So you need to prepare. You need to focus. Be like a eagle, right? Eagle is only focused on one thing: food. If it doesn't strike now, it'll go hungry. It'll die next 2-3 days. You need to be like an eagle. Focus on the goals. Focus on interview questions. Grasp it. Make sure you make notes. If you don't, just review this video. It will be helpful for you guys. I'm just going to close. This is not relevant for everyone. If you guys want to drop, you can drop. Anyone who wants to stay, ask doubts, please ask doubts. Chandrasekhar, Rajat, Shubham, Anuj, anyone? Deepak?
Yeah, currently I do not have any question. I will ask in next session if we
Okay,
have.
definitely. Next session will get you the demo servers as well. Uh, okay, great. Thank you guys. You have been amazing. Let's close it.